Namaskar, good afternoon, and welcome to another session. Today's session is pretty impromptu and in something for quite some time. One, due to the schedule, and two, too many things happening around you, and sometimes I feel that do people really want to hear boring stuff? I mean, I'm not being judgmental about the topic being boring, but just the inputs which come to me that there's too much of seriousness and one needs to talk about fun. Okay, so on that note, I'll start. So, why did I choose this topic today? Detachment, or is it a state? Is it an emotion? What is it? For many months, I've had these debates, discussions with friends and loved ones that what is detachment, and often mistaken for being insensitive or indifferent, not caring. And my own journey of detachment has been with the same realization. And therefore, after reading so much and after a lot of contemplation internally, I have been thinking for a long while that I need to talk about detachment in my sessions. It could, and don't take it like whatever I'm saying is the final interpretation. I'm open to debates. I'm open to hearing opinion. I'm open to getting into a further dialogue. But ultimately, what I want is, or what I would like to achieve is a sense, or it's an understanding that detachment is not being indifferent, and it does bring in a lot of internal peace. First, sharing my journey, so my journey of understanding, uh, or my journey of encountering the word attachment and therefore detachment started way back in 2013 when I first, end of 2013, I think, or beginning 2014, when I first met Sri Mohanji, who also happens to be my guru or spiritual master. And it was like I have often mentioned that this was a meeting which was meant to happen. I did not plan for it, and it just happened. Not that I was seeking at that point in time, but like they say that what you're seeking is seeking you, or rather Rumi said that what you seek is seeking you. So it was a perfect conjunction in that manner. And initially he used to often talk about the fact that we are human beings, born to be happy, and the means to happiness is obviously being less attached or being detached from a situation and having lesser expectation. And in many of his satsang, this was a very common topic. And I, for myself, took years to understand this. I'm still in the process, but at least I've understood the meaning and I have clarity. Journey to the end state is still work in progress, but I have complete clarity of what he means in so many years. It's been many years. And I'm truly grateful to my guru because every time I have gone to him with a question on this topic that Guruji, when you say that we have to be detached, am I not being less caring, or will people not perceive me to be stone hearted, insensitive, careless, indifferent? And he would always say no. And he would always, respond with examples, um, patiently every time. After a while, I realized that I'm asking the question too many times, and therefore I need to write down what he says, or I need to go back to his scriptures to whenever I have that lack of clarity as to why I am being, or in a given situation, whether I'm being detached or whether I'm being careless or whether I'm being indifferent. And that's how my journey happened. And in 2019 end, I think I reached a state where I understood and I started implementing those things, and I have gained immense clarity of mind, immense peace internally. Honestly, when what I have gained in the entire process is something one can only be there to understand. No matter how many talks I give or what I say, I mean, I'm a very small thing in this whole universe, but unless one experiences or unless one really follows a master, it is difficult to kind of comprehend what one achieves. But I have achieved a lot of peace, a lot of stability, equanimity of mind, as they call it. The I don't see a necessity in responding to every situation. Where I feel I have to work is in my personal relationships at home primarily. With my friends, I have been able to achieve a lot of equanimity. With my family, it is still work in progress. And the reason is because you're more attached to your family. The expectations have been higher always. And therefore, to bring it down and to step it down and to tone it to a level where there is equanimity of mind, it takes years. Also, the way we are, what should I say, the way we are brought up culturally, patterns that are set in our cultures and in our upbringing, makes it more difficult to kind of detach from certain relationships. But to a large extent, I have clarity. In fact, last year when things were not going right, I mean, I have this immense gratitude towards my guru, and I feel I'm very blessed because I have somebody living I can reach out to and who responds. But um, the changes that Mohanji has brought to my life, my endeavor is to help my friends and family and people who see me, to at least try and understand that they are real, tangible changes. So, while talking about detachment, I wrote down a few quotes, and the reason I wrote it down is because I will give a few examples from my own life, but the reasons I wrote it down is these are quotes are in very simple English, and these books are easily available, and one can go and look up. And probably when it comes from a source which is widely read, it becomes a little more credible. So the first quote is from Mohanji himself, and it is on his website mohanji.org. His teachings, his philosophy. So it talks about the fact that what is detachment, and this has actually been asked to him in various satsangs, and it is a summary of whenever he responds to those questions. Material relations, time and space cannot guarantee permanent happiness. Detached existence from all these can. Detachment is not refusal or aversion towards something. Detachment is having no addiction to anything while having it in abundance. And while it is long, it makes perfect sense. Um, and if actually one goes into the details, I mean, let me give you an example of how I have understood this in my life, in my relations, and and then I will read out the other quotes, including sections of the Gita which talk about it, or there are other philosophers, guides who have written about it. Uh, but coming back to my life as an example, um, we as parents have a lot of expectations from our children, rightfully so, because parenting is not easy, and I am no one here to guide people on parenting, because I think every parenting is an individual journey. Every kid is an individual in itself. they are um, they are unique. Like Mohanji always says, all of us are unique in our own sense, but we are also a mirror of the ekam, or the oneness, and therefore there are certain principles which are universal, and there are certain aspects which are personality driven for the child or for the individual. So like any other parent, I have this whole thing of trying to mold my daughter's life in a particular way. And while I do that, and I think I have the right for her, because she is in her formative years, and when I say right, I think I am in my capacity to do that. The only thing that I always remind myself at the end of the day, that whatever I tell her and I expect from her to live her life in a particular way, obviously one of them being that imbibing a sense of discipline, because I feel discipline goes a long way in building your personality and making you resilient to situations. It has been proven. So while I try and get her into a routine, into a discipline, the outcome of whether that happens or not is her journey, is her karma. While I am not giving her that flexibility now, and I am not giving her a choice to choose this or not, I am telling her she has to do in a particular way. But whether she imbibes that and whether it comes out in the way that I want it to be is not something I can control. And therefore, I cannot get uh, disillusioned or unhappy or unsatisfied with the end result, right? Because that is her karma. So while as a mother I would like to guide her and I would like to instruct her, and I do, I am quite strict. But on the other hand, if there are failures in her life, I want her to know that I am here and I will support her. Having said that, I do not want her to feel that it is okay to not do certain things and not have certain sense of discipline. So it's a fine balance, and um, it's a balance which kind of creates a lot of disharmony at home. You know, I mean, I feel that between us at home, that why you're doing this, why you're doing that, why you're always after her, and sometimes probably I go overboard and the balance. And then when I see that sense of equanimity not there in my mind, when I see that I have that emotional imbalance of me telling her something and she not listening to that situations, that means when I see I am not able to detach from the results of what she is not doing, I go back to reading. I go back to what my guru has said. I contemplate. I wake up in the morning, and during the hours when I meditate, I think about that situation. I replay that situations, and I pinpoint that emotions, which is happening inside of me. That means my mind, which is the contemplative self, is kind of telling me, hey, 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 you are not being successful as a mother, or it is kind of pinch my ego, or it is kind of trying to direct me. It is kind of instruct my senses to react in a different way. Sometimes I shout, sometimes I get angry. And then when I go and contemplate, I understand I'm not able to detach from that situation, and I go and rectify my own senses. That has been my journey of detachment. And I do that while I am fully um, sensitive to what she needs, and I fully have the attitude that I care about her. This is a very small example. There are many examples which I can kind of give from my life, with my dealings with my friends, my immediate family, the environment around us, the staff who work for us, the people who are our support system. But I'm sure all of us have that situation, and while I have not reached the end of the journey, it's work in progress, like I said, and family members are the most difficult to kind of reach that state of equanimity. But I do try, and I think that the journey that I make, that attempt to try, is where my guru has taken me. So, on that same note, I would like to read a couple of other quotes, and then we can start the chanting. I don't want to make the talk too long, though this is one topic in which I mean, speak for hours together. I have really, really um, spent a lot of time because, and in fact, in earlier when I used to debate with myself, that is another good example. Um, I used to get angry that why don't they understand what am I trying to say? I used to try and impose that, hey, what I am saying. So there was this race in me to prove that what I am saying is the correct definition of detachment, and what they understand is wrong. And then I realized, hey, you yourself are not detached from that debate or discussion. So what are you trying to impose, right? Or what are you trying to explain? So that is another learning. And I think when you kind of genuinely make efforts to imbibe certain things in life, it does come. So what you're seeking you, or what you seek is seeking you, comes back to you in every situation. So I genuinely try to understand that why am I kind of having heated discussions about a topic where you're supposed to express, or you're supposed to have equanimity of mind, and I reached my conclusion, and very rightfully so. So a few of the other things, I mean, as I said, last 1 year, I've said in many of the talks, last 1 year, I've spent a lot of time reading, thankfully. Not as much as I could have given the lockdown situations, but at least more than what it was prior to that. Because there was a point in time when I used to read a lot, mostly management stuff. And biographies, autobiographies, and then everything just dipped with the onset of social media, where I just got hooked onto social media. But last 1 year, I have gone back to reading a lot about what my guru says, and through him about other writers. And then you eventually realize that every master in their true sense, or every motivational speaker who's evolved in their true sense, is trying to say the same thing in a different way. Depends on how you relate to them, their writing style, but the content and the message is the same. So with that, and I would like to kind of read a few other things. So one thing is, I have not read the Gita fully, but I do go back to the Gita whenever I have this lack of clarity. And when I read it, and sometimes I go back to the Gita merely for curiosity, and then when I pick up a concept, I go back to Mohanji and ask him, because I feel when he gives an example, it is more It is closer to life. So in various chapters of the Gita, starting from chapter 2, which talks about there is this whole fact about yoga, and then how do you what is expectation, what is attachment. And so Gita directly doesn't talk about detachment, but it talks about the fact that if you're a karma yogi, that means if you are born to do actions as part of your duty, and if you have gyan, if you have wisdom of those actions, then you can still be detached from the effects of those actions, provided you do not have you do not have emotions attached to it, you are not linked to the success or the failure of all the actions that you're doing, and you have the knowledge, or not knowledge, rather the wisdom or the self realization that you are doing it only as an instrument, and once you do it, then you move on to the next thing. So chapter 2, 3, 4, I mean, all of it, as I said, I have not read it fully, but whatever sections I've read talk about these aspects. So there was this writer who actually has beautifully I mean, it's a one line summary, probably not doing justice, and I apologize to those who read the Gita in and out and who are very regular. I apologize for the brevity of the sentence, but as somebody who's a layman and novice, it's a good synopsis. So it says, Gita defines detachment as doing the right thing for its own sake, because it needs to be done without worrying about success or failure. So let me repeat this. It's actually a very good synopsis. Gita defines detachment as doing the right thing for its own sake, because it needs to be done without worrying about success or failure. And this is not my quote, this is by a writer whose book I've been reading now, and I kind of have been very motivated with his book, because I feel that some of the concepts, the way he has explained, is very good for somebody new who's looking who's on the journey of self realization. So just adding on to that, there is a quote that this writer has mentioned. A quote from Ali, cousin and son in law of the Prophet Muhammad, best explains the monk idea of detachment. Detachment is not that you own nothing, but that nothing should own you. I love how this, and so again, I repeat this, detachment is not that you own nothing, but that nothing should own you. And he says, I love how this summarizes detachment in a way that is not usually explained. Usually people see detachment as being removed from everything, not caring. And that is not correct. So again, I would iterate, because I have myself faced this many a times, that detachment, whenever we talk about detachment, the first reaction I get is, it's so hard, it's so difficult for me to be detached, because the moment I'm detached, I would be taken as somebody who doesn't care or who's indifferent. But the fact is not that. The fact is not that detachment is not about not caring. The fact is that detachment is being objective in a particular situation, where you can keep your emotions aside and you can be with the person, guiding the person in the rightful way by being kind, however, by being objective. So, so while you may have a friend who would come to you with a certain problem, or a situation, your immediate reaction would be, oh my God, I feel so sorry for you, and I'm unhappy this has happened. So that is when you get emotionally attached to the situation. The way to do it, though I would leave it to everyone, as I said, I am not that evolved now to guide anybody, but typically what all these scriptures and masters mean is, the way to handle the situation is to be more objective, is to try and show him that there are ways to solve. Sometimes maybe the person just wants to be heard, just wants to be listened, and they don't want solution. So one has to judge the situation and accordingly react, without getting sympathetic or without getting into a situation where you're offering pity, because these emotions are not, doesn't help the recipient or the beneficiary. What helps is being objective. What helps is showing love and kindness without being attached. And therefore, detachment is not about lack of care. It's not about being insensitive, but it's about being objective. And it's about, say, calling a spade in the modern way. And having said that, sometimes calling a spade can be taken to be insensitive. But like I would go back and iterate that you also have to be kind there. You also have to understand the situation. Maybe hear the person then and react later in a way that respond later. But in no way, in all of this situation, would you come across as somebody who's not caring or insensitive, if we understand the true meaning of what detachment is. Okay, so I think I've taken 20 minutes on that. I was wanting to maybe keep it to 12 to 15. We will do the Gayatri Mantra chanting. I would iterate that given the situation, please get into some routine of chanting or contemplation or meditation, because one, it gives you a sense, it creates a positive vibration in your body. Two, it gives stability to the mind, which we all need at this hour. And three, it also removes negative blocks, and it is proven that it does remove, because each of these chants, no matter what chants you do, has positive, the words, the syllables have positivity, and they create a kind of vibration in your bloodstream and around yourself. It energizes the ions and the molecules around you, which creates positivity. So please try. We are going through unprecedented times in our life, but this is also the time to contemplate and bring out the best. Who knows, maybe in the next 2 years, um, something good may come out of this. While I'm not demeaning the situation, I know a lot of us, including me, we have lost our loved ones, and we would want to be there, we would want to support. But at the same time, let's look forward. Let's work on ourselves. Let's get that stability. I also falter. I falter quite a lot. I also go through depressing moments. But during such moments, I go back to my reading, I go back to my guru, or I go back to people who love me and who can guide me. I would suggest this to all of you. If some of my viewers or friends want to reach out to me and talk to me, please do reach out to me and talk to me. I am available. I have also launched an initiative along with my friends, few of us, which is called Breath, and where we are there to support and to help in psychological healing of people and their families suffering from COVID. So it is just a small endeavor. Let's reach out, let's be kind, and let us chant. So center your body, sit straight, 3 deep breaths, and then we start. ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् तेन्दुर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात् In the last two chants, we shall recite very slowly. Om Bhurbhuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Om Bhurbhuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Rub your palms together and transform the warmth to your eyes first. Open your palms and look into your palms. I was getting into a kind of a trance today multiple times. I don't know. I mean, I could feel that I stopped chanting in between and I was in my zone. Apologies for that. But yeah, it does happen quite often these days that after a while I just want to go into silence and I just want to chant within inside of me. It's an individual journey again. There is nothing right or wrong, but they say that when you chant, the words have to be very clear so that we can hear the vibration of the words. So even if you're doing it silently within you, you have to say the words. That's how it is. Okay, so with that, have a good afternoon. Stay safe, stay indoors, and we shall see you again. I shall see you again soon. Namaskar. Good afternoon.